Okay, so earlier this week I posted a bunch of floral wreaths that I made online just for fun. I love to dress up and do costumes and things, and so this is one of my hobbies when I'm bored is I like to make flower wreaths. You can hang them on the wall, you can wear them on your head. So I don't have to store them as much because I can use them as home decor when I'm not wearing them. But they're super easy to make, and so I thought since everybody was interested in how to make them, I would show you how I do. Just to give you a heads up, I am not a professional. This is just a way that I've figured out how to do it over the years, and it works for me. I'm sure people who actually sell these and make them professionally have a much better system. But if you're like me and you're just looking for costumage and it doesn't have to be super sturdy and professional grade, this works really well. So really you only need a few things. You need some kind of tin snips or wire cutters. Do not use your home scissors. You will destroy them instantly. So you do need some kind of heavy duty cutters to cut through the wire. You need some type of heavy gauge wire. Today I just happen to have some sort of heavier floral wire that I'm going to use, but I have even used like my husband's aluminum wire from the garage that he uses to fix fences. Whatever you can find, it's all good. And then the last thing, well, second to last thing you need is some floral tape, and it's sort of a stretchy, sticky tape. Comes in a variety of colors. You can do brown, light green, dark green. Pick whichever color you want for the type of wreath that you're making. And then, of course, you need flowers. You want a couple of different types of flowers, though, to make a good wreath. If you just go with a whole bunch of big flowers, you're going to have a lot of big flowers, and it's going to be really boring. So you need what we call filler. It can be little bits of like berries. It can be almost like baby's breath type. It can be ferns, greenery, anything that's going to add some color and some texture so that your wreath is not just one note. So pick a couple of different things that you like the look of together, and that's what you're going to build your wreath out of. So basically to start, you're going to take your wire, and take my glasses off. Basically what I do is I literally just kind of wrap it around my head to get a decent size and figure out an approximate size that I want. Cut your wire so that it overlaps about 3 or 4 inches and just twist. And basically that just gives you the basic ring that you're going to work with. So make sure it fits your head. A little bit on the big side because you are going to wrap some things around this so it will shrink just a little bit, but you don't want it so big that when you try to wear your wreath, it falls all the way across your head. So it does need to be tight enough that it will sit and not fall, but not so tight that it literally just sits on top of your head and you can't wear it either. Today, I have some blue fluff. I have no idea what kind of flowers they are, but I liked the color. And so I thought I would pair them with some white flowers that I have left over. And then of course we need filler. So I have some greenery of different varieties that I'm going to use. I also have some pale sort of baby's breath looking things. And we're going to build it as we go. All you're going to do is for every flower that you choose, and you can go to the Dollar Tree, you can get cheap flowers, you can buy expensive flowers. It really doesn't matter. It's all about the look that you're going for. The biggest thing you have to remember is to do this, you have to have enough stem to attach it. So here's a perfect example. I cut these, let me show really up close. I cut these off of a giant garland, but see how there's like 1/4 of an inch sticking out? There's not enough to tape on. It'll just fall off. So you've got to make sure that you have a minimum of about 1 inch to be able to tape into your wreath to make this to work. So if you have something like this that you really like I like this little purple flower, it's really cute, and I'd love to use it, but because of the way that it was cut, I don't have enough stem. Check your stems. I can actually pluck this apart. Of course now it's not going to work. Take off the leaves, and there's a tiny bit of stem left. And if I put it back in my flower, now I have enough stem that I can actually use this flower, and I can tape on different leaves to go with it, but I get that color that I'm looking for so I don't waste it. So pretty much everything that I use, even bits and pieces of flowers that I don't use in one project, I save for another. This is a perfect example. These used to have white flowers all over them. I used those in a different wreath, but these are still great leaves. So they're great filler and great color for other wreaths. And I'm actually going to use some of those today. So here's how you attach these. It's super easy. You're going to take your floral tape, take a chunk of it, and you're going to stretch it. So what you're going to do is just sort of pull it. It stretches a little bit, and what that does is it lets it stick together. And you're going to start with any flower that you like, any piece of greenery. You're going to hold it onto your wire, and you're literally just going to wrap your tape around it. And now that piece is on. Then you're going to take another flower, some filler, and you're just going to start layering. So I have some greenery that I haven't used from other projects. I'm going to sort of peel it apart and cut one bit off at a time. Now I have a little bit of greenery with a big enough stem. You're going to add that to this flower, and you're going to just continue to wrap with your tape. And now I have a tiny bit of greenery on there. Then I'm going to take another flower, maybe a different color, something that I like, and you're going to start staggering them. And I like this sort of combination there. And you're going to use your tape. Now in this case, my leaf is kind of in the way. Just bend it out of the way so that you can tape down your flower first and get it nice and tight. And then you can put your leaf back. Give me a second. So then I can put sort of the leaf back where it belongs, put this leaf down, and keep twisting. Now so far I have that. So if you notice, I have a couple of leaves here, but now I have no flowers. And my tape is all the way down here. So what I'm going to do, because I kind of like these leaves, is I'm going to keep wrapping. And a lot of this is just a feel for what you like. There's no right or wrong way to do this. But I'm going to wrap just a little bit longer until that is solid. And then I'm going to go back and add flowers into it. So when you get to a spot where you're like, okay, that's good, it's secure, you can rip off your tape, squish it down. If you have too much wire sticking out, just trim that. So currently this is what I have. Then I have to decide, okay, what do I want next? I kind of like this weird little green bubbly, I don't even know what it is, sort of a ferny looking thing, but it adds some nice texture and color to my wreath. So I think I'm going to put that in next. Again, you just take a strip of your tape, break it off, stretch it, and you're going to add this. Now the key when you're building one of these is to alternate sort of left, right, left, right, left, right. You don't want all your long things sticking all in the same direction. So because I did this way, but my blue sort of points that direction, I don't want to do it this way right away or everything starts going the same way. So you do want to kind of keep in mind what direction all of your flowers are going and don't have them all too much the same way. When your leaves are in the way, sometimes you need to tape a little bit on top of a leaf and then under a leaf. But the key is to make sure you've got enough stem that it doesn't come loose. So just take your tape and really get that on there. Put your leaf back up where it belongs. Come down, tape a little bit farther down so that it's there. So now I have this. And again, you just kind of twist it till it sets the way that you want it if it's sticking out too far. Okay? Hopefully that is making sense. So again, I still have 2 leaves down here, but I need more flowers. I need more stuff. So I'm going to take another one of my blue ones. I think I have enough to go all the way around. And I'm going to stick it right in between. Now if you notice, that's a big gap right here. This is a big flower. So you want to set it so that it fills in the gap, but that you can still see the white flower. Twist the leaf around it a little bit, and I'm actually going to attach it way down here. Oop, it's starting to come apart. Watch your flowers. Sometimes they like to shed. So I'm going to twist it above. Don't worry about getting just the stem either. If you have like 3 or 4 stems at the top, they can squish together. It's fine. you want to make sure it's tightly bound to your wire. So if you need to, just kind of adjust where you're twisting it, if that makes sense. So now that is what this is looking like so far. Okay, so the filler is really important. You want texture, you want different things. Try not to do just flowers. Try to have some berries, try to have some unique greenery, you know, maybe something with a different shape than everything else. The more you mix it up a little bit, the more interesting your wreath becomes and the less one note. So you really want to have a variety of flowers. I always hit like Hobby Lobby, Michael's Crafts, all that, when they have their 90% off sales at the end of the season. Just grab anything that looks cool. It really doesn't matter what. You'll end up using it at some point. So I'm going to take some more of this berry stuff. And I'm going to do a white one this time. And since that one went this way, I'm going to shoot this one this direction this time. Let me grab some more tape. Angle it off to the right. And tape it on. So you can see as you go, you can readjust sort of where everything lies and twist it to where you like it. But you can see how this is sort of starting to come along and see different colors. So again, I like these white flowers, but I just did white. So I really don't want to do white yet again. So what I'm probably going to add is a little bit more green. I don't have a lot of leaves and I really want some more of the greenery. So I'm going to take a few of these that I have left over. And just cut those. So I have a few to work with. Grab some more tape. And just start adding a little bit of greenery at a time. And then I can go back to some more white. So really the only trick to this is this tape. You just twist it like crazy and add things on. And you can find floral tape at any craft store. It's not hard to find. Whoop, I did that backwards. No wonder I'm backwards. Hang on. I went from the wrong direction. I usually try to go and make everything lay the same way so that as you work around, everything sort of follows the same pattern. If you look at this that I did, everything flows this direction. I didn't kind of go back and forth and back and forth. So you do want to work one direction. Try not to do what I just did and actually go back into what you were already making. So I actually wanted to go this way. It does help if you pay attention. I don't always pay attention, but that's just me. So again, now I'm just adding greenery, twisting around, and basically the floral tape just ties it to the wire. So I've added a bunch of layer of green here. And then I can add some more color. So I have the blue and I have the white, and I'm kind of wondering, just because I have some extra things like this sort of bluey purple, it blends in and it adds a different slight texture. But if I go that way, it blends in too much. If I go this way, it's too much the same shape of that. So I don't really want that one. So I'm kind of looking around at what else I have laying around. And I actually have some of this pink that's sort of a neutrally pink that I have left over from another project that I think I'm going to add instead. And again, it just adds texture. The more different kinds of flowers that you can add, the more texture, the more interest your wreath becomes. So the whole key is don't get locked into just like 3 flowers. 3 flowers are boring. It becomes too patterned, at least for me. That's my opinion. You don't have to follow it. But again, that's just how I like doing wreaths. So I like lots of texture, lots of slight different colors. So now I can add another blue, and you can kind of see how this is coming along. And then I'm going to add another one of my blue ones, because that's my main color for this particular wreath. And I'm just going to keep twisting and adding that on. And then I can add another one of my white flowers. I think I need something. So again, as you go, think about what you like. Like right here, I'm just feeling like it needs some more filler here before I put the white flower on. So I'm going to kind of look around and go, okay, what do I have that I can fill that in a little bit with something that has a little bit more interest than just another flower. So here I happen to have a purple one that's very similar to the pink one that I had. Again, left over from my main purple wreath that I did the other day. But it just adds a bit of texture before I put the white flower on. And I can tape them at the same time. You don't have to tape everything individually. A lot of times I will make little clusters of flowers and then tape them all on at once I have them in a position where I like the way they look together. So you can do it that way too. In fact, I'll find my pink wreath. I did the entire pink wreath in clusters, where I did almost like little boutonniere after boutonniere after boutonniere. And I tied my clusters together first, and then I wired them onto the crown. That way everything looked very consistent. So part of it too is it depends on whether you're the type of person that likes a consistent pattern where you want it to look the same all the way around, or if you like it a little bit more organic, like how I'm making this one, which there's no particular pattern to it. It's just a color scheme and textures. So now that you kind of see how I'm making it, I'm going to turn this off for just a few minutes and I'm going to finish it, and then I'll show you the finished wreath. Okay, so I'm turning this back on for just a minute before I'm done because I wanted to show you something. I wanted to add a piece here, and it was difficult for me to figure out how to layer everything. So this is where I was saying you can actually make little clusters. So I have this that I want to use, but it needs some greenery. So I have some little extra pieces of green, and all I'm going to do is go ahead and sort of layer these with this the way I want it to look first, so that that's a little cluster. I'm going to take my tape and actually twist this together into one stem. And what that does for me is now when I go to put this on, it's already exactly the way I want it to look. I don't have to worry about it. I can slap it right onto here and then immediately just tape it on, and everything is exactly where I want it. So sometimes it pays to make a bunch of clusters that you like and then layer the clusters. Saves you a little bit of time and make sure that everything lays the way that you want it. So you can kind of see how this is starting to turn out. Always, if you're using flowers like these where they're prominent and noticeable in your wreath, make sure you have enough, where am I, to space them out evenly when you go around. The last thing you want is to have half a wreath with flowers and half a wreath without flowers. It can work. You can put the, bare side in the back, but it is better if you can have it sort of be a little bit more consistent all the way around. All right, turn it back off. Okay, so there is the finished wreath with lots of blue and white. And basically, usually I take it and I sort of scrunch it all up in one direction so that there's a definitive bottom and a top. But then you can just put it on, and there you go. Hang it on your wall. The things I wanted to point out, again, when you're putting something together, you want lots of texture, different directions, different textures, different colors. Try to stay away from all of the exact same type of flower. You want some like actual blossoms, some little berries, some, ferns. Think outside the box. Some of the flowers that are really cheap make really cool wreaths. I was going to show these. These are just like funky things that I found on sale, and they were these big drapey sort of things. But when you pluck them, they make great texture for inside of a wreath. You can even do really weird things like this. If you want to do maybe something for Christmas, these would be really cool to incorporate. When garlands go on sale, this one is a really cheap, like hard plastic. It's not even fabric, it's a hard plastic garland. But this is what I used to make this one. So even the really cheap stuff can make some really pretty wreaths. Like I say, the key is don't waste anything. These are the leaves that came from the blue flowers that I just used. I didn't use any of them in this particular wreath, and they don't even have a stem. So you would think, oh, when am I ever going to use these? I'll throw them away. Don't, because if you pinch these three together, whoops, now I've ripped my tape, and get a little bit of tape, you can tape that and just sort of twist it. I'm sticking to myself. And now you actually have, have a stem that you can take those leaves and incorporate them into another wreath. So I don't waste anything. I have all kinds of scraps and little pieces from things that I've used in the past. They come in handy. Anytime you need filler for a wreath, grab something that you didn't use for something else and tuck it in a corner. As long as you don't have a super definitive pattern, you can use filler in one place of your wreath that you didn't use somewhere else. A perfect example is this little bit right here. I only have in two places on this entire wreath, but I needed something to fill a section. It was the right color scheme, it added texture, so it works. So that is how I make my wreaths. I hope you guys go make one. Thanks.